Hello, everybody. I want to say welcome and thank you for being here, Antoinette, Kim, and Derinthia. What a pleasure it is to be able to speak to you all today and discuss dandelions, the impact that dandelions have and will continue to have as we navigate HIV in the community. And so my name is Carli Cray, and I am a program associate at AIDS United. I work on program management for the Melanated Movement Initiative, where we uplift Black women of all experiences, of all ages, and retelling, shifting the narrative, and about how it is living with HIV, what people need to know, what people need to know from our perspective specifically, and what change can look like going forward. Um, like I said, it's our pleasure to uplift and celebrate women of all experiences, and I can continue talking about what being a dandelion means and how I was first um, I don't want to say, what am I saying? When I first met a person who identified as a dandelion and, continued to see the growth that it's had. And it always felt so close to my heart. But before that, we know AIDS United works to end the HIV epidemic across the United States, and Melanated Movement has been a wonderful route for us to reach our niche audience of Black women because, we carry so much joy and change and we deserve to be here. So I'll turn it over to y'all to get to know a little bit about you and who you are. And we can start with Antoinette, then we can jump to Kim and then talk to Derinthia.
Hey, I'm Antoinette, she, her pronouns, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from New York, and my favorite color is yellow. I like long walks. No, let me stop. Um, I am the co-founder and co-executive director of the Dandelions movement. I also work at PWN as a national field organizer. I've been doing movement work for the past 6 years now. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hi everyone. My name is Kim Canady. Well, Kimberly, but everybody calls me Kim. Um, Things I like. So I love doing hair. Um, I love to eat chicken wings. I know that's not stereotypical, but I enjoy it. Um, what else? I'm a football mom. So currently, right now, even though I'm from Brooklyn, New York, right now I'm in Florida celebrating with my son. He's a national, so that's, I guess, came to be a hobby. I've been doing this work since I was about 12, 13. So that's over 20 years, about almost close to 25 years of me doing this work of advocacy, sexuality, pleasure activist. So I've been doing this for a really long time. And oh, my affiliations. I am the, or dag, I forgot who I am. I'm the founder of Conversations with Kim. It's my own LLC where I focus on Black and Brown women, talking about sex, sexuality, HIV, giving a platform for those who feel like they do not have a voice. So that's who I serve. And I also am a CAB member on the WELL Project.
So, hello guys. I'm Derinthia. She, her pronouns. Co-executive director of Dandelions movement as well. I work at Emory University School of Medicine as well as a clinical research interviewer. I've been working for them for like the last 4 years. Been in advocacy for the last 6 years as well. And I like music and also a mother, and I'm like family oriented. So that's kind of what I like to do. Yeah, I write music. So yeah.
I love that. We have some creatives. We have some Brooklyn. I mean, well, Antoinette didn't say she was from Brooklyn, but we got some New York natives in the house too. Very cool. Um, and I just love hearing all the things that y'all like to do and the things that you're interested in. I think sometimes we forget like how multifaceted we can be and how all the parts of us are like super amazing, no matter what may be the thing that other people associate with us, because we just have so much to offer to the world at large. And so I want to get started because I know that we've already been talking about dandelions because we all know about dandelions, but let's give the people a bit of a definition to go with when we consider dandelions.
So you want me to start, Nick? I can start. So dandelions came from Mary Bowen. She wrote a poem a few years back about a dandelion, and um, one day me and Antoinette was sitting in her house one day, and she said, "Dee, listen to this poem real quick." And for the last 3 years prior to us getting the name, we was like the forgotten by community. She was making a statement saying, "We're really gonna be forgotten about if we if we use that." So Nettie was like, "Listen to this poem. I think we should be named the Dandelion." So I'm gonna give it over to Nettie so she can kind of explain where her mind was at right then. And yeah,
I can't tell you where my mind was at, but I believe that spirit works in very unique ways. And Mary Bowman, she actually passed away. She transitioned off this earth realm in 2019. Me and Dee sat in my room in what was that, like 2021,
right.
and I only got the opportunity to meet Mary one time, which was like phenomenal. And just hearing her talk about her passion for poetry and why she loves to write, why she loves to advocate. I really resonated with that because I also write poetry. Um, and these are artists, like she mentioned. So, like, artivism runs in our blood. I believe that dandelions, lifetime survivors, are very, very creative and very unique. And everything that Mary wrote in the poem, I don't even think that she knew what she was writing when she wrote it, or the impact that she will have when she wrote that poem. I was literally just listening to it the other day, and I was like, once again, you have left a legacy that you don't even realize that you created just from the words that you put in this poem. And it doesn't just talk about the experiences of us as people who were born with HIV, but it talks about the experiences of our mothers, of our parents, the people who birthed us. And one of the lines that she wrote in the poem is, um, if dandelions were unseen scars would not be seen as odd, but as gifts from God. And that really like resonated with me because, um, and probably every dandelion on this call, because we've always so different, right? Like we always just knew there was something different about us. And then we learned of our diagnosis and we was like, oh, that's what's different. And then we realized that different doesn't mean um, not worthy, or different doesn't mean that we aren't beautiful and loving and all of the things that Mary wrote about in that poem. So we just realized that we are God's greatest gifts, I want to say.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I, I was at USCHA this past summer, and I believe y'all were up there on stage. And it was just, I was almost brought to tears because, of course, I heard the poem, and the poem came out in 2012, and I feel like I had not heard it on that large of a platform um, until then, 2023. Like, this is insane, and also echoes what Antoinette was saying about, you never know that impact that it's going to have, and then when it does and it continues to ripple, like this community is being created, and it's just a wonderful place to be. And so we've talked about the significance and the definitions, and it's a wonderful origin story to hear how y'all were able to come together and just be in such a comfortable space and say, like, this is our next step, and that it come, not necessarily in such a natural way, but like Antoinette, like spirit works in mysterious ways. And so how wonderful that is. So I know that, dandelions, it's not particular to a certain race or lifestyle or anything like that, right? But how does it feel, and what are these intersections, of being identifying as a dandelion and being a Black woman? Like, do you ever feel like those intersections create other moments that are unique for you all, or carry a difference in how you contribute um, to the larger community?
I guess I'll go again. I think I think just being a Black woman in itself, like, just, I think if we wasn't a dandelion, we would still be a Black woman. Like, the intersection of dandelion and being a Black woman would be, I mean, it. I feel like it goes hand in hand because of who created it, and I don't know, like, identifying as a dandelion and a strong and powerful Black woman, it's intersect by itself. Like, two strong, powerful Black women created, and, well, one strong, powerful Black woman created a poem, and then two strong, powerful Black women created a movement, and then, like, it just goes together. It's intersect itself. Like, I mean, it does its own thing. It really does. It kind of does its own thing. So that's personally how I feel. So yeah.
I just love Derinthia. I think for me, when I think of the intersection between Black women and dandelions, is the fact that Black women are always the last on the totem pole. They're always forgotten. We have to fight our way just to be seen, just to be heard in every space that we enter. That we have to be 10 times better as Black women than our counterparts. And I think for me, when I think of dandelions, when I think of lifetime survivor, when I think of people living with HIV or people born with HIV, we are the lowest on the totem pole. Nobody thinks about us. If we all did not collectively get on that stage at USCHA and say who we were, and for Derinthia and Antoinette to create a movement to say this is who we are. We're not gonna stop. You are going to listen to us. I don't think that it would be so impactful right now where we are. I think that it's the continual fight that we have to do, because for so long people thought that a lot of us had died. They don't even include us in data. They don't include us in research. We are fighting for just to put our names in the books of a demographic that doesn't even show up, where people are surprised that we still exist. So when I think of the connection of Black women and I think of dandelions, it goes hand in hand in my eyes.
Yes, thank you. And I know the people out there are curious and wondering about USCHA, because we're talking about how wonderful it was to be able to experience that. And so if you weren't there, you missed it. Oh my gosh. I hope that there is a link out there, because like Kim is saying, like Derinthia is saying, it was, people do not take into account the fact that people are able to live and thrive as lifetime survivors, and that yes, the same way people are aging with HIV, and we talk about individuals who have been living with the virus since the 80s, and things in that way. But, we're not paying enough attention to the people who are lifetime survivors, and the data is not there. And honestly, I will continue to be an advocate for that, when we're considering those things, because aging with HIV is across a larger spectrum than I feel like a lot of people have been including. Um, and so let's continue talking about some of the experiences that we've had, or that in some of the experiences in the HIV community. And we're talking about data, we're talking about contributing these perspectives. What are a few things that you feel like it's most important for people to know about lifetime survivors?
Um, y'all can go if you want to go. um, well, when you mentioned data, so there's a few things that we can talk about. We could talk about like the lack of research on us. We could talk about the unexpected aging dandelion community, lifetime survivor community. We don't know what's going to happen with us because we're all Asian, but there's the least amount of research for us. The impact of the HIV medications, along with the virus itself, um, all these other comorbidities that many of us have encountered or have or are challenges with. Mental health is the major thing that there's not enough research on because and um, the lack of services around mental health, the lack of wraparound care services, overall quality of life in general is a problem. And I think, especially with our community, because a lot of us are millennials, we are going through a lot of um, I want to call millennial crises. So we have housing support needs, we have children support needs, we have food security, rent prices going up, inflation happening. Like there's all these things that us or our generation right now, especially because majority of us are lifetime survivors, are facing. The other generations might not have had to encounter. Um, and all of this is impacting our overall healthcare.
I was always in a piggyback off of Antoinette. I think it's this for me. I'll speak for me, and I can speak for other people. It's a survivor's guilt of surpassing not only your friends but your parents. See, having to outlive the death date that they gave you as a child, and then they prepare you so much for that date, or just to be comfortable, your family to be comfortable, and then to surpass that, and now be in your 30. I'll be 37 in 2 days, so I would. That's something that I never thought that I would see because that clap it up but that's a blessing. That's something that a lot of us, a lot of my friends didn't make it. Like we were just happy to celebrate getting past 13, getting past 16. So to be a lot of us, everybody on this call is all moms in our 30s working, and sometimes mentally struggling with just life. Like, how did we get here? Happy that we're here, but just still figuring out, if it wasn't just for God, if it wasn't the medication, if it wasn't for our faith of wanting to live, that's something that everybody who's positive has that. But at the same time, we had to deal with that from a child, and then live with that, and then every decade, every just going with that, and hoping to not get defeated with the medication, dealing the things that we deal with medication on our body, or just the healthcare, the different changes, the different terminologies. Yeah, everybody else has to do with that, but our internal trauma, um, and the external trauma that we receive when it comes to dating, when it comes to disclosure, and we just want a normal life because that's something that a lot of us never had, was just to quote unquote normal, because I don't know what normal is, but that life without HIV, we would never know what that is. We haven't had the pleasure for some people to experience that. And I think that's a large misconception of, well, y'all made it, but we didn't know what it was before to not make it. Like where are we? So I think that's a big thing right now where we're fighting our internal struggle externally outside. Everything that Antoinette said, the prices of food, the prices of gas, the price of air right now, like it's the price, and nobody wants to pay us for our worth, but then wants to use us to come up and talk about, hey, share your experience. We are struggling financially and mentally without the services that you want to give us. So it's like treat us as the experts that we are. And I think that's it. While y'all do research on us as babies for this medications that y'all was doing to test out for everybody else. So now we have these long-term effects as a collective of what y'all was doing, testing us as basically guinea pigs, and then don't want to give us the services or the fundings that we need. I can go on and on, but I'm gonna stop.
I love that you mentioned normal, Kim, because I think about oftentimes when I do this work, I think about the other babies. I call them babies because they're younger than us. They're not millennials, they're Gen Zs. But the, up and coming generation of dandelions and lifetime survivors, because they are out there, they are still being born, not as frequently as we've seen in the past, but they are still being born, and what their experiences is going to be like. And I remember just trying to fit in so bad in school and just having this subconscious thought of like, but you know what you got, you know what you got, you different than them, not that one. Like it was just always running in my head rent free. And I just think about like where I am today and just those babies that's going to be coming up. Like, damn, they're going to be having those same exact thoughts, those same exact experiences. But the only difference is they they will have dandelions. I want to say like they will have us on this call and many others to look up to, if we really just continue to push our movement.
I love all these responses. They're making me feel so warm. And, the fact that we have this platform to let people know straight up, like, this is the deal. These are the hard truths, and they're coming from people who are experts. And so, as experts, and continuing to look forward, um, as we continue to look at all those ages, as you mentioned, what are some tips that you have for other dandelions and other, people in the Gen Z?
I can say something. Just know that you're not alone. Um, Even though we grew up alone, we're not. We're finding our community, and it took a long time for us to find it. Some of us already know, like Kim. Kim been in this thing for like 13 years, but for the Gen Z community that is growing up, we are out here. Like we didn't know 6 years ago that we had so many people that was dandelions, but now we know like it's over 10,000 plus of us out here, and we're hoping to find every last one of the 10,000 plus of us there to let them know like we have community now, and we're we're here, like we've been here, like, and we're going to stay here, like we're not going anywhere, is and people gonna have to identify that we're still here, and if they need somebody, dandelions is here. Find us, we everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, and I loved hearing about the artivism aspect of it as well. Have you all had any opportunities to continue connecting with dandelions through art and through other creative facets?
That's our goal of really like leveraging storytelling and the experiences of dandelions and lifetime survivors in very unique ways. Whatever, like, whatever their passion is, whatever drives them, whatever keep them going and keep us all motivated. We really want to like tap into. Me and Dee was talking the other day. Well, it was a long time ago actually, but we were talking about um, like what do we love outside of this work? Like outside of this movement of the HIV Inc. Like what do we love? What is our passions? And we had to sit in a space of like, dang, we not following our passions because we're so caught up in the work, and sometimes that can get very overwhelming and depressing, and all these other things that people don't think about when they want to become advocates. So we wholeheartedly encourage like passion forward, passion work, um, and really like I'm a healer. I strongly believe that I'm a healer, and I do a lot of trauma informed work. So whatever drives people, whatever keeps you going, whatever um, makes you want to wake up another day, that's what I encourage above all things. And for me, it's art, and I believe that art and activism work together.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I totally agree. And so I want to turn to Kim as well. I know we're talking about being creative and stuff. And when we talk about, I know you mentioned being a mom who's like into supporting their son when it comes to football and other things that he likes. So, how do we continue to emphasize, the other parts of life as well, like getting out and having fun? We talked about using your artist app, but like,
Have
other
fun.
ways too.
You got the wrong person about having fun. Me having fun is sitting down watching Netflix and Hulu, um, with some Doritos. Okay, that is me
Yes.
having fun. As my child is laughing at me, or they laughing at each other. Um, yeah, that's me having fun. Honestly, I think, and I told this to Derinthia, and I tell this to everybody. I've been doing this for so long, so I had to take breaks, just mental breaks of figuring out, getting into this work, and people kind of not forced me into it, but pushed me into something I had no clue what I was doing, and then for it to manifest into me taking more control and saying, all right, I need to find a balance of work, my life, and what and finding me again. And I think that's the journey that I'm on now, is doing this work in a way that is fun, and not that it feels daunting, and not that it feels traumatizing, not that it feels that I'm triggering myself from the past that might have happened with the the many loss that I might have experienced. I think for me, it's the balance is the hardest part, but it's also becoming easier because I choose family all the time, and I have to get reminded to choose myself. And I think that's the biggest part, is we this work is service work. We are built and trained to help everybody else, whether that is your family, whether that is your kids, that we sometimes forget that in that service, it's yourself. So I have to carve out and get up an hour before, just to scroll on TikTok, just to do mindless things, make my coffee, sit there in peace, sit there an hour after everybody goes to sleep, and just chill and relax and unwind, or take that. I'll take a 2-3 mile walk, and that's me relaxing away from everybody while I'm listening to 90s and early 2000 music, because I can't listen to the gibberish, that's the mumble music. I can't do. My age is telling. The mumble music, I can't do it. So I think for me, it's little things that I like, that I need to take control of, to enjoy and actually live life, because sometimes you work, you work, you work, and you forget that I'm alive. I need to live. And I think that's a big part of us doing this work, is that sometimes we fight to be seen, but we forget that we have to live, and we have to enjoy the life that we got. So that's what I'm trying to do. Because honestly, if it wasn't for the community, I wouldn't be in Florida right now. It was the community, my husband, my family pouring into donations just so my son can compete right now. So it's honestly it's that best of, business, pleasure, personal life. It all intertwines, especially when you are we are open so freely talking about who we are in our life of living with HIV that people want to support because it's we're not out there cursing people out. We actually are trying to support and live. So I'm thankful every day that I get this opportunity to be able to share my story, talk about sex and pleasure, because that's the piece that I found in this that I want to talk about: HIV, sex and pleasure, and women, because that's the one thing that nobody is talking about besides people who are born HIV positive. Like those two things you ain't gonna find in one story. So I'm thankful and I'm trying it every day to have fun.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you, Derinthia. And so to bring this all together, I hope everyone has paid attention to the joy in this conversation, but as well as the ways that we all have to continue to hold ourselves accountable as advocates, as people living with HIV, and interacting in our daily lives. We've touched on what it looks like to have whole person wellness and look at those things and give attention to the things that you're passionate about as you continue to work within the community, talking about support systems and family and how important that can be, whether it's chosen family or, your blood. Sometimes they're not the ones either. But, there's so many points that were just wonderful gems in this conversation. And I want to turn it over to the ladies for any closing remarks. It was wonderful being here with you all. And so I hope that you feel the same.
This has been super dope. These my people. These my people up here. These my people. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
I was gonna say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having us. Honestly, it's sometimes World AIDS Day it becomes a lot because we remember those that we've lost, but to shine a light of the people that are still here, that is doing the work, that is showing up every day, and for y'all to say, now this is something that we need to talk about is a huge thank you and a big shout out to, I'm gonna do a Snoop moment. I want to thank me. Like seriously, I want to thank me. I want to thank Derinthia. I want to thank Antoinette for, you know, having a vision, saying, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what is needed. This is what needs to happen because without y'all creating this movement, having this organization, we would not again be having this conversation. At least in my eyes, I don't think that we would. I don't think that it would go so far because I've been screaming on a mountaintop for at least 20 years, and I feel like I walk so y'all can run, and so did the other people that came before me. Mary Bowman, she walked so you could run. I feel like all of us who was here before y'all, like this is your time. So thank you, and thank you for everybody who was listening, took the time to watch us, and pour into us. So yeah.
Yeah, like Kim said, thank you guys. Appreciate you for the opportunity. Um,
Yeah, I want also, oh, sorry, D, go ahead.
you good? Go ahead. Go ahead. You
Oh.
good?
I want to also give a shout out to the Melanated movement. Um, I heard Kim mention Hulu and Doritos, and I want to give a shout out to Cece and Miss Sonia. Their documentary is on Hulu, Unexpected. They're talking about motherhood and HIV. A lot of our experiences are very similar, and those are our good Judies. So we want to shameless plug that. Many of the other dandelions in the community, I want to give a shout out because the reason we are a movement is because we can come together and do this work. Kim said like 5, 10 years ago, shouting from the rooftop, it seemed like like voices weren't being heard is because there's no longer isolation in this community. We are working together to really push our narrative forward and move our community forward. So just big shout outs, big ups to us for being us, for living, for breathing, for waking up today, and for being beautiful, wonderful Black women. So
One more thing. We lost a Dandelion this year, Tiffany Morelos. She was really like close to the Dandelions movement. Um, she was just big um, with me and Nettie. Like, I just want to lift her up in this space, like F cancer, like she would say. But I just wanted to lift her up before we go. All right, I'm out of here.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And echoing, thank you to Cece and Masonia. Oh my gosh, such amazing individuals as well. And for more resources on how we end the HIV epidemic, visit the link on screen and follow the hashtag Stop HIV Together. So thank you, everyone. Wonderful meeting you all. I know that I'll probably see you soon. Please remember my face. Bye.
bye, y'all. Thank